There we are. We're recording. Record button has been clicked.
Oh, okay. One for you, Mr. Feeks.
Mhm.
Can you stop with the disco bobblehead? That just distracted me. Thank you.
I'm in a bouncy mood.
Jeez. This is what comes from shaving upstairs now. Anyway,
No, right. I'm sorry, out of context.
No context to that. Shaving upstairs, that's where we'll leave it.
Yeah.
For God's sake. We're really going for those manscaping deals now.
Yep.
we've pitched our level and we know our audience. Anyway, if you do go back and listen to the ADBBL match from this weekend, the Elf on Elf semi-final, just go straight to the last 30 seconds. So we'd finished playing, and I was just saying to everybody, if you want to, you can contact us at New Dice Please, watch more through ADBBL, etc., etc., etc. And I turned around, and Mr. Scott Norman was playing Star Wars Legions behind. So I walked over the microphone, and I said, Scott Norman, just to finish, what's the word of the day? Because I think if Feeksy would like this. Yeah, he did you proud. He did you proud, very proud. So I'm not going to say what it was, but you need to just go listen to the last 10 seconds. He was like a rabbit in headlights, and he pounded and it was just... And he said it quite loud in the store as well. So I had to check the audience, and he was all clear. But yeah.
Some people think I'm stupid for allowing games to be live streamed without any level of censoring or anything like that. Some people think I'm a madman.
We don't think that, Chris.
So
we
this
know.
intro, which will go in front of a episode, right now I don't know which one, but we'll figure that out, is a bit different because we are going to make the most of intro time to nail down the teams that me, Scott, and Tom Hovell are going to be taking to the Suffolk Subterranean Showcase. And Scott, why don't you explain kind of the decisions we've made and the decision yet to make?
Okay. A bit of background. I'll pass to Mr. Tom Hovell. So, Tom Hovell, would you like to explain the team select, also the race selection, and that we're all going with?
Yeah, it completely became by chance. I was moving the mountains of plastic grey around the spare room here, and I actually came across one of my first Blood Bowl teams I ever painted, which was the Skaven set, and I was actually like, oh, I've only played with these once. It'd be nice to play with them before they get nerfed, probably in season 3 or something like that. So I kind of posed the question to the guys as to anyone else playing Skaven. If so, how do you play them? And then came up with an inspiring idea.
So, Mr. Feeks, we then decided, okay, if we all play Skaven, because Chris said he was playing Skaven, I was going to take Delves, but based on this genius insanity, whatever you will call it, what we said is we would all play Skaven. So we kicked around the idea of we either play with the same build, with the same skills, with different builds, different skills, or some sort of hedonistic combination of all the above. So what we have is we have 3 versions of Skaven teams that you are going to just pick, and I'm not going to explain what the 3 builds are, but you will pick team number 1, team number 2, or team number 3, and you will decide which of the coaches gets which. Now, I have written these down in front of me, and it'll say number 1, number 2, number 3, and which is the permutation. Okay, these have been independently checked and verified by Mrs. B and Mrs. B Security Services. She actually praised me on my spelling, which is quite good for once. So if you're up for it, Mr. Feeks, the destiny of NDP at the Suffolk Subterranean is in your hands.
Oh, I am.
And I want to pause there because we need some dramatic Christopher music in your editing skills. Is that possible? Not like that. A proper. Okay. I don't know. We can get medication on mass, can't we? Anyway, right. So, Mr. Tom Feeks, team number 1 Who of the three of us is getting team number one?
Before he decides, so just do you want to tell him what the
No,
okay?
no. And I'm not telling you or Tom what it is either to make it more fun when I
But
do
do you
the
want to tell him what 1, 2, and 3 are without him knowing which one is 1, which one's 2, which one's 3?
I could, but Feeksy, would you want to know or do you just want to go with it?
I think you should just go with it.
I
Yeah,
think
let's
we'll
go with it.
with because
Go.
it won't change the final selection.
Sorry,
Am I allowed
let
to know?
me put the music back on.
I felt the lights coming down.
Yeah.
This doesn't get us a PlayStation Award, Christopher. Sony Award. I don't know what will. Right, Tom Feeks.
I'm just trying to work out which number would you have put the Rover
Get
behind.
yourself comfortable. Skaven build number 1. Which coach is getting that?
Mr. Hovel.
Ooh.
Okay. Skaven build number 2. Which coach is getting that?
I'm trying to judge by your face, Chris, as to which build you want.
I
He
don't know
doesn't know,
which
by the
one's
way.
which.
These guys do not know. Okay.
Number 2 is going to you, Scott.
Okay. And therefore number 3, if my logic, and I'll check that. Yes, correct. That'll be Chris
I
then.
think I've got the one that I don't think I've got
Now.
the one that I want.
Oh, I would apologise, but
You've locked that now. Before we lock that in, Tom Feeks, just to repeat. So, setup number 1, Tom Hovel. Setup number 2, myself. Setup number 3, Chris Coe. Are you happy with that, or do you want to change?
I'm judging by Chris's reaction. I am so happy with that.
Tune in next week to find out. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone.
Join in next week to see an episode without me.
I tell you what, that's quite fun. We've got a guest to bring on. Let's bring on the guest, and you'll find out which teams we're taking next week. Play the intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Dice Please, the bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by the people at Blood Bowl Live. My name is Chris. Joining me, as always, Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, what are you the biggest fan of?
Christopher, I am the biggest fan of drinking irresponsibly.
Great start. Joining us also, Mr. Tom Hovel. Tom, what are you the biggest fan of?
Biggest fan of Formula One.
Oh, I'm 2 for 2. I'm happy. Also joining us, Mr. Tom Feeks. Tom, what are you the biggest fan of?
Now, as much as I want to go for a sexual innuendo here, I'm gonna say Sunday morning rugby.
Could still be sexual innuendo. And as you will see this week in the purple box, we have a guest joining us. And what a guest we have got. He is a Team England committee member. He is a NAF rep. He is a referee. He is a fan of Renegades, Undead, and Elven Union. It is none other than Mr. Dan Atherton. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. What are you the biggest fan of?
Well, I just assumed that these would all be Blood Bowl things, but never mind. I'm going to go with... do you know what? Cauliflower cheese.
Ooh,
You know what? I'm here for it.
yeah.
With pretty much anything.
As a bold
Within
shout.
reason.
Yes.
Cauliflower cheese with the rugby on a Sunday morning,
Yeah.
drinking heavily, and then watching
Yeah.
the F1. We've
Yeah.
got a perfect. We've got a slam dunk.
The combination of drinking heavily and cauliflower cheese is an interesting one.
Can't possibly go wrong.
Can't possibly be an issue.
So, Chris, and your favourite thing? What are you the biggest fan of?
I'm probably the biggest. I'm probably going to go boring and say I'm the biggest fan of my dog, who is sat nicely over here, fast asleep, out of shot.
I
Being a
noticed
very
she
good
didn't.
boy.
I know she didn't say dogs though. Lottie's now holding her head in shame.
She's not in the house. She didn't hear me. That's fine. I'm all right. I'll get away with it. Well, we've got a guest in the purple box on the screen, which means it is another chance for us to go through somebody's hot takes. So we will be going through 3 hot takes from Dan, and we will be seeing whether we agree with them, whether they're hot, whether they're mild, how they are, and everything in between. Dan, I'll hand over to you straight away.
Right.
Various strings to your bow in the NAF and the Blood Bowl world. What is your first Blood Bowl hot take?
Okay. So I run the NAF Championships as part of my role within the community, and my first hot take is running Blood Bowl events is more fun than playing in Blood Bowl events.
Ooh. Now, having also run, see, because I've run some tournaments and done league commissioning, and my gut is to disagree, but
Right, so I'm going to back you
but
up.
I would
So
love to
here's
hear
the
your
rationale,
justification
right?
for this.
Number one, you don't have to lose any games of Blood Bowl with. Number two, it's like when you go to a wedding and you're not getting married and you get to do all the fun stuff, just hang out, chat with whoever you want. There's no pressure. It's lovely. And then number three, everyone is very nice to you at the end because they think you've done loads of stuff. And you probably haven't really done all that much. You just managed to get everyone in a room. So that's why it's a more life-affirming and quality weekend.
I can't argue with any of those points. It just makes me wonder whether I'm running mine wrong that I would always rather play. I mean, especially, I guess, like, what is this like NAF Championship scale wise? What kind of you're looking? Because I'm talking 32 people league and 32 people tournament. What are we looking at NAF Championship wise?
Well, this year we've got 320 people coming, and I think reasonably you could easily have 500. There's probably that much interest, but that is somewhere that I've said 320 is enough. Thank you very much, because that is a lot of bananas to give out to people, and arguments to have around whether or not people have got their lunches. And I think that kind of, in particular, leans into the point around being able to see your mates and see people and chat to everyone, because it is really nice at bigger events to not have to just disappear into your mind palace or equivalent thereof whilst you're playing Blood Bowl. So I'm a big fan of that, and I think I mean it is a bit of a privilege, to be fair, to be able to run the NAF Champs, because it's like a bit of a marquee event, right? So people are coming from all over the world, and I like that side of it as well. I do quite enjoy like enabling, like holding some spaces for some Italians that have been desperate to come for the last 3 or 4 years, and they're going to make it over this time, or like an Australian guy who's never been to the UK before, and it's like on his bucket list and things like that. So I accept that that's slightly different to running like because I'm running another event in Stoke-on-Trent in 4 weeks' time, which is going to be very different. It's just focused around eating cheese oatcakes and playing football. So I might eat some Blood Bowl. I was about to say eat some oatcakes and play some Blood Bowl that weekend. So, but yeah, I mean, scale-wise, it's just slightly more stressful in the sense that I have to manage a PayPal account that has a phenomenal amount of money in it for a little period until we pay for the venue, and then all the stress is gone when like the money's gone away, and then it's just dealt with. And aside from that, it's just trying to.
You say that that's the stress, but I don't want to spoil any over further hot takes. But how are you managing the games of 320 people?
Oh, like in terms of the results management.
Yeah, results and everything.
One of the questions I'd asked, thank you, Tom, was tour play or paper?
It's neither. So we have a little special system that the other guy that I run it with, Jim Jiminy, who's like the background coder, has created for the webpage. So it's an in-betweener. So you don't have, well, actually, no, this year we did introduce that you could click on your opponent and get a PDF of their roster on your phone. But literally, you're just recording the results in that and submitting it in. And 3 years in of running that, we've never had it not work, touch wood. So, and it's a kind of a simplified, it's basically the pen and paper equivalent. But that is the first time I did NAF Champs, we were still pen and paper, and that was a bit of a nightmare, going through and reading them out and then going back through, and there was a lot more work. Yeah, now I've got more time to socialize thanks to Jim's abilities and coding. But what he hasn't done is create any form of UI whatsoever. So he's not allowed to stop or fall off the face of the earth, because he just literally sits there with all the code open on his laptop and makes live changes if he needs to. I'm just like, okay, that's your bit, and I'll just be compere on the microphone. Have a nice time.
So how much do you get involved then with something that size? Because like you do, you do some refereeing. Do you do you try and give that responsibility to other people, or are you still more than happy to be like, you know what, I'll I'll pick up and do whatever, as long as the event runs smoothly?
A bit of both. I am a control freak, which I think is helpful in the sense that it makes sure that you've got one person who's like central that can sort of tick all the boxes. But I do have to relinquish some of that over the weekend. So there's a team of us that will come together as volunteers and run it in terms of being refs. But we're quite passive. But I think maybe it's just arguably slightly too passive at times. But I think with those bigger events, you have to just kind of trust in the system and let it run, right? You can't over referee it. And I think it's kind of like I say, a bit of an institution, the NAF Champs, because it used to be called the Bloodbowl. It was the original Games Workshop tournament that ran at Warhammer World, and then when GW dropped Bloodbowl back in the 2010s or whatever, they binned it off and it became the NAF Champs, and then it moved down the road to the university. So it's always been there, and it's kind of got this heritage of being like quite an accessible tournament, quite a simple rule set. Because quite a lot of people, it's their only tournament all year if they can make it. So so there's me and Jim, and then there's usually about 4 other people. We usually have a couple of people who play. And Glowworm, I don't know if you know Glowworm, he always comes and is always our spare player on a set of goblins just to jump in. So it's kind of just about trying to mitigate as much as you can. Like we've done it for long enough now that we know where the problems will be, which is like people not turning up on the Saturday morning and then people wanting to go home early or whatever else. I mean, that's the main thing. As long as you can get an even number of people in a room, everybody gets to play Blood Bowl who wants to play Blood Bowl, and then the rest of it kind of sorts itself out.
What's question from me, Dan? What's your optimal ratio for referees to players? You said there's going to be 320 players, and well, I don't know about the other guys. My experience of Blood Bowl and Blood Bowl tournaments is people are very good at refereeing 99 out of 100 between themselves in terms of agreeing how to move the match forward.
Yeah, I think you probably it probably doesn't like scale naturally. So like up to about 30 people, you'd have one person. Anything more than that, you'd need 2 people. But you could probably cope with 2 people up to about 120, I'd say, and then maybe every 100 you'd want another person. So we operate with 4 this year. But one of the things we are going to do next year is be a little bit more active down the bottom end, because one of the things that we found was that there was a little bit of cantankerousness amongst the more keen players down the bottom end of the tournament who get drawn, have had a bit of a shitter, and maybe get drawn against one of the younger players. Because we have like a school who comes every year with lots of younger players. And so we do just need to manage that. And that's the one point of sort of potential friction that I think makes the NAF Jump slightly different, is that we have a lot of kids playing in that tournament, maybe 20, 30 kids out of 320 people. So yeah, that just needs a little bit more policing, but I think it's, not to make them out and out the molehill.
I think that's an interesting point, because a tournament we went to recently, there was you could feel kind of the difference in atmosphere between like the area that had the top tables and the area that had the lower ones.
Definitely.
Like there was a very different atmosphere. You kind of possibly because of levels of concentration or whatever it was, you did see a lot more smiling and laughing in one section, and I can imagine if you expect to be in the top section and end up in the bottom, especially on like a 2-dayer or something like that, I can imagine it kind of you may be falling out with some people in that end who are maybe a bit more carefree.
No, exactly that. And I think, and it's funny as well, because Blood Bowl it was interesting. A couple of years ago, we had a guy come over from Warhammer. He used to work for Warhammer TV, but he did his own thing for a little while. Does a lot of streaming of Warhammer and AOS and all that sort of stuff. And he came and streamed some Blood Bowl for us.
Is that young Rob, the Honest Wargamer?
Yes, Honest Wargamer Rob. Yeah. So he came and we streamed a couple of tables, and Stan Mike came and did some reffing, commentating, but he was completely blown away by the fact that everyone came back for day 2. He's like, what? Why are all these people down the bottom end? Why are they coming back? Because they paid to come and play. So, and like, it's just not a thing. People don't go away. So I think that changes things ever so slightly. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Oh. There you go, mister. So it's I think but then I think that then creates that tension, right? Where those people are like, oh, I'm going to come back and have day 2, but I'm going to win all 3 games no matter what, because I want to have a better day 2. So sometimes it might have been better that they'd just gone home. but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I know I can speak for Mr. Tom Hovell, because we've both had different 2-day tournaments where we have had 3 losses from 3 on day 1, and I so enjoyed day 2 because it does give you that kind of opportunity to bounce back. And Tom, I know you were the same.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's just the fact that you're like, oh, who cares anymore? Let's just have some fun. Let's have some good. And also, it's almost like you always want to try certain tactics, but because you're in a tournament, you never want to do those tactics. So you're like, oh well, I'm not going to win it. I'll try those tactics, or I know I'll try and just dodge 4 up, 3 up, and pick up the ball on a 6 up kind of thing. And that's when it kind of really gets fun.
Yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. I think going back to the start of your hot takes, trying to think, I've never been a TO, but I do run an online league, and it's nice knowing that you're just there to facilitate it, and that people do genuinely appreciate the fact that someone's just gone to the effort of doing it. And when we were the closest thing I've done to a tournament is when we were mid-season, I did organised a night of friendlies because we had a couple of months with people hadn't really played anything. The only effort for me was I put out a poll and I messaged the shop. But people were so grateful for having someone to set it up. So I do get that. More fun than playing. I suppose it depends how your games go, doesn't it? If you're winning and they're good, or even if you're not winning but they're good games.
I think that's what it is, right? So it's a guaranteed good weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I could go on the Friday and be like, we've got you in. Like, the tables are there, the boards are up. Like, there's a microphone. We win. It's definitely going to happen. So now, like, all the stress is gone. I don't have to worry about.
And then at 9:30, you crack open the first beer.
My pot of cauliflower cheese.
That's I think you have brought me around. I think the thing that has sold it to me is the idea that, it's particularly with a tournament of that size, I think like doing like a 30 so tournament sort of on your own, where there's a good chance you're maybe the only one in the room not playing. But compared to a team of 4 or 5 refs and some people helping, that does that kind of that atmosphere and that kind of you being there with like a team of that doing it. You've sold me on that. I think
that is a really good point, actually, because we're mates because we've done it together for a while and we've known each other through Blood Bowl for a while. So inevitably the banter's really good, and we can play some Blood Bowl if we want to, really, on the side, or any other game that we've brought with us. So it's a win for sure.
That is a very good first hot take. Let's go on to number 2 then.
Okay.
What is your second hot take?
I think I might have peaked, but never mind. Okay. All forms. I don't think this is going to go down very well. All forms of online Blood Bowl are rubbish.
I am here for it.
Oh, that's the reaction. I wasn't sure they were about to storm off or something. I don't know what's going on.
I'm here for it, but I'm gonna need to start by clarifying when you say all forms.
Okay. except for Tabletop Simulator, because the reason being, in Tabletop Simulator, I can take back my crap moves and move things around. Because that's the reason that I really hate Fumble and I really hate BB3, is because I play the game really visually. I'm one of these really annoying people. I mean, I don't get like dice out and pattern everything, but I do a lot of fidgeting like this with my positioning. And I find it deeply frustrating that I can't do that on.
Are you someone who places dice on the?
Maybe one,
It's fine.
just to make sure I know where I'm going, but I won't map them all out.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
17.
And then move loads of stuff and move it all back. No, that's outrageous. But I do need to just move a thing and then go, no, that's no, yeah. So I can't. That's it. That is literally how I can success. I can never defend successfully online.
I like this as a take because I've gone more and more off like Blood Bowl 3 and online forms of the game because I think you can tell that like I largely play Blood Bowl for the kind of the community that we've got that play and for that kind of social interaction. And I do feel that you can tell the difference between someone who has learnt and possibly mastered and be very, very good at the game purely online and then comes to a tabletop compared to someone who's done it the other way around. Like I really struggle to play. I think the only games of Blood Bowl 3 I have played have been against people like Tom, where I've played online and I've also been on Discord and I can also have a chat and that side of it. But I feel like the more that I play people who have not learned maybe in person or done as much of that side, the more it puts me off Blood Bowl 3 and that, because it is almost the easier entry because it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you've got a PC, you can play Blood Bowl 3. Doesn't matter if you're not near any local clubs or anything, but you miss that kind of social interaction and you miss how to interact socially in that kind of format, whether it's competitive or friendly or what else.
That is a much better rationale for not wanting to play than not being able to just go like this. Oh, actually, it's because we get to spend time with other humans. Oh, yeah, that as well. No, seriously. No, I'm on board. Like, I think that's obviously a massive part of the game, right? Is having that interaction and literally the physicality of rolling dice and things like that is big as well. And during COVID, it was a lifesaver. Don't get me wrong; like it rescued our Manchester League that we were playing in and allowed us to stay in contact in that sort of respect. And obviously, there was a big increase in fumble, especially during that period. But yeah, as much as I can, I'd always play on tabletop now, just for all of those reasons that you cited, plus my terrible mistakes that I can rectify.
You would never use it like a training practice or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit in the build up to this Euro Bowl a couple of weeks ago. We were doing a few games online, but I never felt like I was in. There's always like the caveat of, but I probably wouldn't have done that because. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. When I've done practice games with people, it's been like me and Scott played a practice game before the Cake or Death. We played a practice game, and
we did.
And there were elements where it was like, okay, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? And especially in a practice format, you can kind of chat with your opponent who's also practicing and be like, okay, well, what if I'd have done this? Oh, well, I might have done this. You know, you can kind of talk it through a bit, or let me just see what would happen if I'd done that, move some players back, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So even for practice, I'm like, I'd much rather spend 6 hours playing one game, going so back and forward and stuff with someone else, rather than 6 1-hour fly-throughs where I'm like, well, I can't really go back and redo that. I can't go back and retry that.
Yeah.
I think,
Go on, Feesy.
I was going to say,
let's get the opinion of the person who's running an online league, shall we?
Probably the one that plays the most. Both Blood Bowl 3. I'm in a weird place with Blood Bowl 3, to be honest. In that, you know, if I have a random hour at lunch or something like that, and it's raining and I'm not going to take the dog out, I can just stick it on and play a quick game of something. Great. It's great for that. And we've had a few newbies come into our league, and they said, look, what's an easy way of just getting some practice in? It's like, right, so try Blood Bowl 3, but be aware that it's not the same as tabletop, but it allows you to learn some of the mechanics, just try a few things out. And Chris, like you say, it's great for that practice thing of being like, okay, if I position it here, what's going to happen? If I do this, what's going to happen? But you're right, that's not how you do it on tabletop. You don't do it. If you're playing against someone that you're just like, right, I've moved that, but I haven't rolled dice and I still know exactly where it's gone and you know where it's gone. If that person's not going to let you put it back, they're being ridiculous. Let's be honest. It's kind of, people will do that, be like, move that. Oh, actually, no, let's think about that and go there instead.
Yeah.
It's part of the game and it doesn't allow you to have those mistakes. And then also just the community aspect of it. When with the league that I run, it's literally written in the rules pack that it's encouraged to talk over Discord. It's not enforced, because if people don't want to talk, they don't want to talk. But it is encouraged, so you can live a bit of that pain, because I feel like a lot of Blood Bowl is you live the highs and the lows with your opponent,
definitely.
and you can, even if it's just like your opponent rolls the 4th double skulls of the game, they know that you're not celebrating.
The thing is, even if they do, like, I kind of either need them to say, "Oh, that sucks," or them to be cackling with laughter, so you can at least have some.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than what I think is the worst thing is like, well, that's the 7th. That's the 7th one in a row, and then you look around and see that you're sat in your room on your own.
Yeah.
And you
slowly
go,
sobbing.
this is fun. Like.
Just for me on that topic, first of all, in my world, my preference is tabletop without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, we talked about lots of the reasons there. I love seeing the models on the tabletop, because I think having and seeing people who have invested a lot of time and money in a set of plastic, to have those, your figures who you've invested in and they're out on the tabletop. And teams look so much better and so much more characterful, and so much, it just shows that individual persona on the tabletop. Love that. I love the fact that you're learning and you're sharing. And I feel, as a part of the Blood Bowl community, that's my responsibility as well, to share that, because there were players who helped me on my journey, helped me as a coach. So, you have a responsibility to help and grow the community. I think, that's my preference. I don't think that I don't play Fumble. I don't do Tabletop Simulator. Do Blood Bowl 3. Getting more pissy with it at the moment, personally, I am. One, because it feels that, the aesthetics are fine, but you've got to spend. It feels like my daughter plays Fortnite. It feels like it's all like, just to get a Skaven with a bit of Warpstone glow on them or something. You got to spend 10 quid, and that's like, come on, guys, give me a break. And then the one thing, and I got pissy because I had a quick game on Blood Bowl 3 tonight. And I felt that the coach wasn't very good. It was the AI that dicked me over. And I get it that it's allegedly random and you get it on the tabletop. But as you were alluding to there, Chris, when you're on your own, the person's is beating you just because they on this occasion, they rolled 4 blocks. And in those first 4 blocks, there were 2 deaths, 1 KO and 1 knockout. Seriously? Come on, guys. Really, there's probability, and then there's taking the proverbial. So, I don't think they're completely rubbish, but I think, and they're all levels of rubbishness, but I definitely would put, or my love for the game would be in tabletop. Yeah.
Dan, do you think that because of Tabletop Simulator, can you see a world where Blood Bowl 3 or Fumble introduce any kind of more sandbox style mode where you can be a little bit freer, maybe almost like kind of a practice mode? Because you can now, when the game first came out, you couldn't just kind of have any roster you wanted. Then one of the developments was that you could kind of build a completely, customize with whatever skills to whatever value you want and all of that, which makes practice a lot better. Can you see kind of a point where they maybe try something a bit more sandboxy so you can have a game which feels a bit more like you're on the tabletop?
Yeah.
Or is that just not what it's there for?
I don't think it's necessarily what it's there for, but also I'm not as alluded to earlier, I'm not a computer coder, so I don't know how easy it would be to affect. Because to me, like Fumble is better of the two because you have more flexibility of what you were just speaking around. Like it's really quick and easy to just jump on there and like build a roster for any tournament with a rule set and then just jump on a random game. So all it really needs is like the equivalent of Control Z, just for when when you do stuff wrong. And I suppose as long as you put a limiter on how many times you could hit Control Z or something like that, then maybe that would manage it. I guess from like Cyanide's perspective for BB3, from what I understand, it wouldn't quite work for the sort of immersiveness, would it, of the world that they're creating? If you, although they do have the rewind thing for the rerolls, so I don't know. Maybe it's not necessarily. I mean, tabletop sim. I don't know if you've ever used tabletop simulator for anything. It's ace because it is that gravity space, but it's clunky as hell to play a board game like that. Like it'd be the same as trying to play chess on it as well. But like point and click on multiple pieces, and you're always picking up the wrong bit, and yeah, you accidentally flip the table and all of that sort of stuff. So it's just
it's no different to a tabletop match.
Exactly. It's a normal game of football. Yeah. But I think you're right about the dice. The dice is the big thing psychologically, because it's coded, right? So it's a string of dice that's already predetermined. There's a load of numbers in a algorithmic system. There's like billions of numbers or whatever, however it works. It never actually truly is a random dice roll. And once that's in your head, I can never get it out of my head. So I'll be like, well, why have I hit the string that's 7 ones in a row, and this guy's hit all the powers or whatever? So it's just it's whereas if you just roll it, like I quad sculled 2 games in a row at the last tournament that I was at, and it happens, doesn't it? Whereas I hadn't done that for bloody ages, so it is what it is.
Again, that's another point I can't argue with. I'm much more on board with that one than the first one from the off. But I'm fully behind that. Bring it home then, Dan. Okay. What is hot take number 3?
Right, well, I think this is probably the least controversial, but hopefully it is controversial in some way. I would like to introduce a tabletop rule that said that you're not allowed to use miniatures that aren't either third party or GW miniatures that truly represent what they're supposed to represent. Therefore, if you rock up to a tournament with Lego Men's or Pokemon that are supposed to be lizard men, then you could just drift on through and leave out of the exit on the other side. Cutimals, get out.
So okay.
What about if I can, Chris? I've played someone previously, and it was in a nice, friendly environment settings, and it was a 7s, and they were playing Slan. And they didn't have Slan models, so they used Norse models instead. Is that acceptable?
I mean, I'm reading a no.
Were they like, oh well, on Blood Bowl 2 it was Kislev or something like that? Was that their rationale?
No, it was just they were playing Slan. They were playing Slan, and they didn't have a Slan team, so they decided to play the North team.
Don't play Slan. No, it's not.
Cool.
So I
will still play. Don't get me wrong. I'll still play anybody, but I will take a strong moral high ground in my.
So, because I'm thinking of a few examples that I've either played against, or so like I'm thinking, I saw someone who played a Khorne team, but they were all squig models. So they were Warhammer models, but they were all squigs, and he got matching ones for the different level of positionals, and he played it as a squig team, but it was just Khorne rules he was following. I think someone
we know that we had one in our season in our league who played a Norse, but they were 40k.
Those nice models, actually. Yeah, I like those. Yeah.
So I kind of see where you're coming with the aesthetics, because it's like these two teams are so juxtaposition. How would they ever meet on a pitch?
Yeah, there's definitely the world building part of it, but also it's like it's quite a complicated game, especially like it's increasingly complicated. There's more and more positionals coming out. If I don't immediately know what I'm playing against, then I feel like that you're getting It's probably not intended as that, but you're getting a relative speaking, you're getting a slightly unfair advantage because I'm having to compute and work out which one's the white and which one's the flesh column and which one's the goal. It's
Then
I find
tie that up with then the coloured of loom bands and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't start that. Don't start loom bands tonight. No.
I guess
Please,
maybe that's
it's a block,
the
please, for God, it's easy.
maybe that's the point. It's like if it's like if you've got if it's really obvious. So for example, let's take Norse as quite a good example. If you've got various positionals that all look different, but there's clearly a model of something that has that looks like is wearing a Valkyrie helmet or something that's very obviously a Valkyrie. That's kind of one thing. When it's completely different and it's like, how do I match each? What makes each one the one that it's supposed to be mirroring?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
That I played a game recently against ogres, and it was the Fallout, the bottles of pop from Fallout were the ogres, and the caps on the tops of the bottles were the snotlegs. Oh, but one of the bottles is a kicker. I don't know. The one with the blue label. So you're just like, come on. And then I played similar games. Like in the older rules, it was maybe slightly easy because it was like Lizardman, for example. It's either a Saurus or it's a skink. So like, what can it be? But now you've got the complication of the chameleon skink, or like I said, I played a couple of Pokemon teams that are just awful for that. So,
and what's your rules like if you're reffing or as a TO on that then, Dan? So if someone turns up with a team, and I'm assuming they're turning up with some sort of plastic rather than like mobile figures or like they said. So let's assume they turned up with plastic, and the opposition player looks and he says, "Dan, I don't know what the hell these positionals and the players are like, you know, for love nor money." What do you do as a referee? Do you say, "Look, fella, you've got an hour. Go buy yourself buy yourself a box of some clippers, and work fast. Otherwise."
No, I don't think it's ever got to that point. But I have taken a spare team with me to the NAF jobs. I always take a spare team with me in case there's an extreme example. If in the rule pack we would say, so there's two things. One of the things that we introduced recently was that all miniatures have to be painted, which was always a thing, but was never enforced. So we've changed that now to say if you want to win anything at all, even last place, you have to have painted miniatures. Because that really bugs me that people don't do that. And then also, clearly identifiable positionals, because that's the fundamental thing. And I would argue personally that just painting the edges, or the ones with the red edges and the ones with the blue edges, is probably sufficient, but it often isn't, because then the skill ring probably gets applied over the top of it or something like that. So, in the answer to your question, unfortunately, I haven't actually had to get to the point where someone's gone, I refuse to play my opponent because of the state of their team. That would be a tricky one. Hopefully, nobody will put me in that position.
You're right with saying that even third-party miniatures that are themed around that race. So I'm thinking, like, for example, is it Punga with their pirates?
Yeah.
Those I've got them on the screen now, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, I can see some of them have got cloaks, so they must be gutter runners. But there's only two there. Is there four? Is there four in this build or not? You know, it's that kind of thing.
Well, the issue with the only issue with that is that you like you look at like the GW human blitzer and the human lineman.
Yeah.
It's a bigger fin, isn't it? Is pretty much the only difference between them. Yeah. So like there are some teams where like in the
Amazon blockers as well, right? On the strength ball.
Yeah. Look at Delve blitzers. They're not significantly different either.
Well, look at the ogre team that you mentioned. The GW give you two that look like they're kicking, and two that look like they're just
having a squat.
So it's kind of like so which one's your punter? So there's a bit of an issue with GW themselves.
No, that's fair. I think the primary thing really is that like we're playing a world of fantasy football where we're in like olden times lands, and so yeah, if you come at me with 40k miniatures and Pokemon, that really feels like you've just not invested. And to me, it's a holistic hobby, right? So paint your miniatures, get appropriate miniatures, respect your opponent across the tabletop by being clear and fair about what you're doing. So it's kind of part of that, I guess. But you can just take it to the nth, can't you? Like you say, I think pretty much there isn't a single team that's completely perfect.
No.
Except for obviously all of the 3rd and 2nd edition teams. But
clearly, I think you're onto something, and I think it's a hard balance to strike, because you can get some third-party ones that really work, and some third-party ones that just don't.
Yeah.
But you can stretch that even further, and you can think, well, yeah, fair enough. If I get the right 40k or Age of Sigmar miniatures, and the theme is right, and the models look right, and the sizes are right, and everything like that, it can work. But if your opponent ever has the question of, oh, what's that piece again, then it's going to be a problem. I've got a third-party Necro team where the golems, they're not big enough compared to the zombies.
Yeah,
they do look different, but you have to look at them, because there's not the real size difference between them.
Yeah.
And there's a few times where I had to point out, oh, that's a golem.
Yeah.
And they're just a bit too close. It's like you don't need that confusion on the tabletop.
No, exactly. So I've got an old vampire team that I made up with from like a third-party company. Well, they weren't even Bloodbowl miniatures, called Westwind Miniatures, and it was just Nosferatus and like different Igors. So it was really obvious, because in the old rules it was just vampires and thralls, right? But now I wouldn't dream of using them. Because I was like, oh, I'd love to use those minis again. But since they released the new rules, that they are unusable. I couldn't just paint the edges red, because they just look like 6 different Nosferatus. I can't just go, oh, this one's a thrower and this one's a blitzer. So I think you've got to take some responsibility for your own stuff.
Well, funny enough, I always kind of play orcs at the moment, and my orcs are third-party orcs, so they're like the Savage Orc team.
Uh-huh.
And what you did, and I'll always make a point that the big uns look bigger. So going back to what Chris was saying about which orcs are an orc in the Games Workshop setup. So the big uns are bigger, and they've got like dinosaur skulls on them. The blockers, the blitzers, they've all got like spines and spikes all over them, and then the linemen just look like normal orcs basically. So, but I always make a point of that. So when I start the game, I'll break them out into their own little groups and say, right, they're your big uns, they're your blitzers, and these are the line orcs kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine if it's then clear. Like it's then if it gets in a muddle that it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
I generally do prefer a third party over a GW one. Part of that is the cost, because GW makes some lovely models, but they are incredibly expensive if you want a full team. And just the dynamic poses, like even just looking, obviously, again, we do this all the time. This is going to be great for all.
This is going to be really good for all our Spotify listeners. Isn't
exactly. Unpainted Doom Diver. So he's only been based, but the dynamic pose on that compared to a GW Doom Diver.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I love it, but they have to be clear.
Yeah.
I am guilty of using non-GW ones, mainly for big guys, because I feel if it kind of fits my team. So I had a team called the Owlbears. They were an OWA team. I then briefly turned them into a Norse team. And so my Yeti or my Ogre, depending on which one I was playing, was a Owlbear model, because they were called the Owlbears. And there's only one in the team. You were never going to not distinguish it. My Skaven team are called the Ice Baron, so they're the polar bears, and they're all little white rats. So the one game that I've played with them, where I've played a rat ogre, I had little 3D printed polar bear, which was stamped on by Full Time, but was more thematic.
By your opponent.
No. I took off the table and I stamped it. the game is on YouTube. Skip to the end, and you can hear someone go, no, before. So yeah, I'm guilty of it, but I think I think I do, particularly kind of the narrative side and the world that it's in. You know, if you've got a team that are clearly based on something from the real world, but it's the old school miniatures just with particular kits and stuff like that, that's kind of different to you bringing I don't know, a bunch of Transformers to a fantasy football game. I think they were three very solid takes, Dan. I'm very pleased with those. It's at this point in we have a guest on that I sit back, worry slightly, and hand over to Mr. Scott Bryant.
Before we do the quick fire coach, I was going to ask Dan as well. So Dan, you obviously are part of the Team England setup, Team England committee.
Yes.
Yeah. We had a young gentleman, you may or may not know him, Mr. Chris Blunt, Greenskin Phil, phenomenally well. And by the way, when we come on to Quickfire Coach, he is top of the leaderboard at the moment, just to put some more pressure on you. When you're in Team England, we were touching upon this last week as well. What's the current criteria in terms of how many people are on the committee? How do you spot the talent? How do you spot new talent coming through? And what's the criteria for people to stay in Team England? So obviously, I mean, you pick players on form, reputation. How does that work as a brief outline?
Okay.
Yeah, Scott's pitching his
No.
I with all due respect, Dan, I don't want to play for Team England.
Wales did better anyway last. They came second in Eurobowl.
We did. They did. Well done.
Yeah, they did great. So just quickly on the committee thing. So I put myself forward 2018-19 just to be part of the committee. So there's a committee cycle that runs. There's 4 of us on the committee. And so all we really effectively should be doing is managing the appointment of the captain. And we've kind of formalized that process because it was basically like people put their hats in a ring and people vote. But what we've then done is created a bit of a charter and just managed that a little bit more coherently. And I think it's been a useful thing to do in the ever expanding community, because even since I started in earnest playing tournament tabletop for about 2016. So I've been playing Bloodbowl for about 23 years, but I didn't really start with the NAF that much until about 2016, 2015. And even since then, so my NAF number is like 20,000 and we're up to 40-something thousand now. So, you know, the NAF's been around for a long time, but in the last 5 years, it's more than doubled in numbers. So there's a committee cycle every 2 years. We have 1 or 2 new committee members come on and they get voted on by the community. There's quite a strong Discord. Chris hopefully will have pointed you in the direction of that, but there's quite a strong focal point now on the Discord, which has really helped us be a bit more vocal. And then we also try to use a newsletter and things like that we organise. So that's the other thing that I do. So you will actually see, we've just announced today, straight off from Hungary last weekend, we've just started the new cycle for the next captaincy. So people are going to be invited to put their names forward for that. So then once we've selected the captain, which again is a community vote, it's then up to the captain as to how they choose to create their squad or just to pick an 8. So Dan Wolfen, who was captain this time around, actually developed it out to a squad of 24, and that was to try and make it feel more inclusive, because it's been one of the biggest blockers I think that we've had with Team England. We had a really strong group of really, 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 really good players, probably the best players in the world, 3 or 4 of them consistently within our 8, and that was why they won 7 Eurobowls in a row or something ridiculous, which is phenomenal level of achievement. And then trying to get us back up to that has been the challenge, but then also trying to make it feel more of a community rather than just a small group of elite guys, some of whom don't play so much anymore, some of whom are still very active. So all I would say to people now is, if you have got any interest at all, even if you don't think you're good enough yet or otherwise, put your name forwards, because I found that I learned heaps this year because I put my name forwards every year, even though I wouldn't expect to get in. And I found that, and this year in particular, because we had this bigger group of 24 people that put their names forwards, we all then played together for about a year, quite a lot, and learned an awful lot. So that's one of the ways that then the captain picked his 12 from that, and then that got split into an 8 and a 4 for the two events. But then there's also, because we're getting a bigger community and there's more of a spread across the country, then there is a little bit of talent spotting that goes on as well. And people are like, oh, this guy who's turned up from having played loads and loads online or from nowhere is definitely quite good. So maybe we should like approach him about coming, like about the Team England setup, and is he interested in sort of being involved? And some people aren't, which is fine, but some people are really keen. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're trying to not be too English about it and actually foster a sense of it being okay to want to win and being okay to want to get better. Because I think that's sometimes been a problem in the past, is that there's a perception that you're just a tryhard, but it's okay to be a tryhard, because it is super fun. It was my fourth hot take, really, was that actually my favourite games of Blood Bowl are games of Blood Bowl against the best players, because even though I probably lose, I feel like it's a really, really intense and interesting puzzle that I often can't crack. So I really enjoyed that side of Blood Bowl, but it's not for everyone, and that's totally cool.
Sure.
That was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
No, but thank you. I think it's very good, because I think I think, and we talk about wanting as New Dice Please to to grow the community, to share the love of Blood Bowl, because we all have that at the end of the day. And I think it explains to people, Blood Bowl goes beyond Blood Bowl 3 in your room. It goes beyond your local gaming store, your local Warhammer store, your local event. It's an incredibly growing community, and that goes up all the way to Team England, Team Wales, and it was great to see young Joe. I say young, everybody's young to me. Young Joe playing for Wales now, because I played him twice, 1 draw, 1 win. I'll keep that up in my goodie bag. So it's just really nice to explain and share with people that Blood Bowl, it starts granular, but it goes up. But at every level, there is a community.
Yeah, that's it.
And there is that support. You mentioned the example with Rob there from the Honest Wargamer. That was international. We saw that was open. All the other tournaments people have talked about as well. It's that community coming together, and I think that's what. Thank you for answering that.
No, that's all right.
See,
I think that's exactly it. The celebration of Blood Bowl is what it's all about. That's why I love running the NAF Champs. Going back to what I first said about enjoying being a TO, because it is like basically we've turned it into just a bit of a festival of Blood Bowl. We invite some traders over, we invite people to come along and just hang out, and and that's what it should be like at those bigger events. And then you just, Alicante was amazing. I cannot express enough how much fun it is to go abroad and play Blood Bowl as well, because then you've got the whole like cultural immersion of it, and then the complication of playing somebody that doesn't necessarily speak English and everything else that leads to. It's great. I love it. Super.
Cool. On that note, Christopher, are we ready for Quickfire Coach?
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Do I have your blessing?
Yeah, this is the part. This is the part where I just take a nap and then wake up to the shock of, what did Scott just ask?
Okay, so by the way, sorry to interrupt, Dan, but just as Chris is part of the ethics committee for New Dice Please, how's my petition going on my request to have the own little segment music at this stage of the podcast? Is that anywhere near fruition, or is it just work in progress, or what?
The level of editing that I've done for previous quickfire questions that you've done.
Yeah.
That's all you're getting. That's the amount that you're getting.
I'll just pray and sacrifice something else.
Yes, for 5 seconds from when you start talking about what this segment is, I will play some like lift music, and then I'll cut it out.
Please do.
Okay,
please
go
do.
ahead.
I feel I've made it then, and my life is a bit more complete. Okay, Dan D for Dan Atherton. Okay, welcome to Quickfire Coach. This is the part of the New Dice Please experience that people, they hate to love it and they love to hate it. This is understanding, engaging your true level, Dan, of being a Blood Bowl coach. Understanding your Blood Bowl coaching persona. Are you a true pillar of the community, a hero, or are you just simply that guy? Okay, so it's going to be 30 seconds. Time is a relative concept on this show. 30 seconds.
It's not going to be
Never.
30
That's why I said it's relative, Christopher. Anyway, you will be asked 10 questions. At the end of those 10 questions, we will see where you sit on the Blood Bowl leaderboard. It may in future lead to magnificent prizes and the glory and accolade of all your peers. It may not. We never can confirm. So, Dan D for Dan Atherton, are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Okay, Tom Hobble. He's our timekeeper. You've got to give him something to do just for his Asbo. Anyway, Tom Hobble, are you ready with the clock?
Yes, go for it.
Love it. Okay, let's start then. Dan, question number 1, block or dodge?
Is it my turn or their turn?
Your turn. Block or dodge?
No worries. I'll take dodge, please.
Okay, dodge. Question number 2, team I most hate to play against is?
Necromancer.
Question 3, season 3 Blood Bowl, really needed or really just GW making more money?
Needed.
Okay, question number 4, favourite tournament attended as a player?
Lutèce, which is in France. You get to sit outside. They put sun hats on your head when it's sunny. They feed you French barbecue. It's €1 a beer.
So was that Feeksy dribbling? Stop it, Feeksy. Question 5, most satisfying, throw teammate or kick teammate?
Oh, throw teammate.
Question number 6, favourite tournament attended as a referee?
The NAF champs.
Okay, question 7, 11s or 7s?
11s.
Question number 8, fend or stand firm?
Stand firm.
Question number 9, the biggest dick you've had refereed played what team?
Repeat the question, sorry.
Okay, the biggest dick that you have refereed played with what team?
Oh, right, okay.
You don't have to say names. What team? Just what team? What team did they play?
Oh,
It's not a novelties team.
sorry.
Just a team. What
I
team did
once
they play?
played a Spanish team, and they'd modelled all of their they'd all got trimmed, and they all modelled big penises on them. So I was
Okay,
thinking that,
beautiful.
well, no, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. I wasn't the ref. I wasn't the ref. Okay. Probably Underworld, isn't it? Probably.
Okay, there you go. Okay, last one, question number 10. That's bleep would have gone off there. Question number 10, I've started, so I'll finish. Question number 10, favourite star player who, after you were both out together for a quiet evening, just the two of you, something to eat, table for 2 please, then drinks, dancing, back to theirs for a coffee, some Marvin Gaye on the stereo, soft lights, and then it's a bit hazy until the next morning you wake up feeling warm and held. William Cheney or Hack Flem?
Oh, Cheney's furry, isn't he? He's furry.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, thank you very much.
You
indeed.
get that it's not a quick fire question when the question is like
longer than the answer.
a minute long. Right?
Timer. We pause the timer. Anyway, so what happens now? Yeah, it's fine. Right, what happens now then, Dan? All of those go over to our independent adjudicator, who's also our ethics committee, Mr. Chris Coe, to give his arbitrary view on things. While Chris tallies up those scores, if you do want to know the answers to your questions and any results in paper, Dan, just go on the internet, find a form, fill it in triplicate, send it through, and we'll come back to you sometime in the future. And just while Chris finishes off there, just an answer to a question we had in NDP email. This is from Mr. TJ Littlegrass. The answers are yes, and yes, it is prescribed. Christopher, what was the score?
I don't know. Feeks, I don't know. The score
really hard.
The score was 9 out of 10.
Yes.
9 out of 10.
Which one did I get wrong?
We will come back to you in due course. Anyway, okay.
Oh.
So just to confirm, Dan, congratulations. That puts you joint top of the New Dice Please Quickfire Coach leaderboard together with Mr. Chris Blunt. Now, there may be an end of fight in a skip season type scenario just to play off, but we'll come back to you in due course and look at diaries. Thank you very much indeed.
Scott, in fact, the amount of bullshit you went through there to get the question of which Blood Bowl player would you fuck is genuinely impressive.
That wasn't what I said. I didn't say those words, Feeksy. No.
Didn't hear it that way.
Well,
I was ready with my Eldra Sidewinder.
To be fair, yeah.
Well, I always have to take a few moments to recover after quickfire, coach. But I think I'm there.
Thank you.
Look, Dan, thank you so much for all of your takes and asking all those questions. Like a really good insight from you, from your kind of TO and reffing and your involvement in Team England, I think is so good to hear. So thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed anything that Dan said, if you disagreed with any of his takes, or if you would have, if you would have also have picked Cheney, I guess, then Mr. Scott Bryant, how do people get in touch?
Mr. Chris Coe, if people want to get in touch, if they want to share all of their Blood Bowl stories, if they want to share with us their thoughts, as you said, about what Dan had to share with his hot takes as well, drop us a note. Usual place, newdiceplease@gmail.com. And remember, uppercase, lowercase, mixed cases, all cases, we will accept everybody into this broad church. But if you do want more hot action from the Blood Bowl scene, Mr. Tom Hovell, how can people get more of that in their lives?
Yep. So you can see as well as hear this, whatever can be described as an appalling display of amateurish podcasting on YouTube under Blood Bowl Live. You can also get us on the socials and on Instagram and Blue Sky on New Dice Please.
Tom Feeks, I'm almost scared to ask, but what is your word of the day?
Futtock.
Oh,
Lovely. What's that mean?
Do I want to know what it means?
That's up to you.
Cool. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We've been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time. What does it mean, Tom?
It means the curved timber on a ship.
lovely.
Well done. Well done for keeping it clean.